Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Back here on another Tuesday, and you know what that means, another Mike Tomlin press conference to recap and react to here today. The Steelers head coach, of course, had tons to say, per usual, saying a couple things about the Steelers' last game, hyping up their upcoming opponent, giving injury updates. Most of that pretty bad here today. We're going to get to that and start the show with that here in a moment. But anything that Tomlin had to say of note today, we will recap and react to in real time here in a couple of moments. After that, just one other main story here to talk about on this Tuesday, a trade in the MLB, not directly affecting the Pittsburgh Pirates. They were not a part of this trade, but it is a trade that could, maybe open up an opportunity for them to make a move. So we will get to that as well. After that, some extra Pittsburgh sports news, a little bit of everything today around the Pittsburgh sports world, a little bit on the Steelers, another Steelers alumni now taking, I should say, one step further in his pursuit to be a Hall of Famer. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they made some roster moves here today, some injury updates on some players for the Pens we'll get to as well. And we did hear today from Pittsburgh Pirates president Travis Williams what he had to say during a Thanksgiving distribution event, what he had to say about the team and what they are planning to do this offseason, we will touch on as well. Before we get into the stream here tonight and we get, things started, if you're new here, welcome. Please, on your way in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel again. Also, like this live stream, share this live stream so we can get more and more viewers in here, more eyes on this channel. And today in the comments section, if you have any thoughts, questions, opinions, anything on your mind regarding Pittsburgh sports news, maybe even it doesn't have to be Pittsburgh sports news. We can go anywhere that you guys want to take it here today. Any thoughts, questions, opinions that you may have, get those in the comments section. I'm sure we will hear from people throughout the stream. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and tune back in later tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60 on cue. As soon as I say, get your thoughts, questions, opinions in the comments section. Regular viewer, Flacco, glad to have you here as always. Flacco, on this Tuesday, our Steelers are crumbling. They are crumbling in real time, but like we said yesterday, nothing with this team really makes all that much sense right now. They can, beat these good teams out there right now, at least record-wise, like the Colts and Patriots and stuff like that, and then they'll go and they'll lay stinkers like that against NFC teams. So we don't know where this team is right now. Crumbling, yeah, you can say that. But then watch, they'll go out and will go right back up that ramp on the roller coaster because they'll figure out some BS way to beat the Bills or something, because that's just the way Steelers football is. Welcome, Concepts, as always, here in a much better mood today. Concepts, Super Bowl bound, done with the negativity. Got all the negativity out on a Monday, says Concepts. Well, I hate to drag you back into the negativity, Concepts, but we're probably going to be going there here soon enough when we get into Mike Tomlin's press conference, recapping that here today. Too many teams with our record. There does seem to be a lot of teams AFC-wise. The AFC, there's no one team that I would say is like dominant, clearly in another level above the rest this year, which makes this season for the Steelers and how they just have had a handful of games now where you just look at the situation heading into the game and you say, oh, hey, we should be able to beat this team. They have no one on defense or their starting quarterback's out. And then the Steelers do what they did, kind of similar to what they did against the Bears, and lose in terrible fashion, both getting beat by the opposition and self-inflicting damage upon themselves. So that's what really is making this season and how they are just so inconsistent. They have really no identity right now. That's what makes it so much harder because, you don't know what this team really is, and it's in a weak AFC this year, in my opinion. So, tons and tons to talk about the Steelers today. Like I said, let's hop right into it here today. We are going to get into Mike Tomlin's Tuesday press conference every single Tuesday here on the channel. We usually lead with this unless there is some other massive piece of news. Heading over to the south side of Pittsburgh at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex here today. Mike Tomlin, of course, tons of people wanting to hear what he had to say after that horrendous loss to the Bears on Sunday. Some coaching decisions from him and some others on the coaching staff were of great interest to see how he would answer those questions today. Started off his press conference and didn't start off with his defense, which is his baby. He's, of course, going to criticize his defense last. And he didn't even mention the offense either first, because they only put up, 171 passing yards. They avoided the middle of the field like the plague. Did not bring up either of those two. Instead, he brought up the special teams unit first in his press conference today, saying that they needed better timely punting during Sunday's game. Called out Corliss Waitman by name. He had some pretty bad timing, bad punts that were, hovering around the 30 to 35 yard mark in terms of distance. That really gave the Bears some excellent field position a couple of times. Tomlin did say, though, that he is looking forward to Waitman bouncing back and that they have been pleased overall with how he has done so far this year. Hopefully Sunday was just a one-off for him. Also, then Tomlin got into the offense and the defense. On the offensive side of the ball, he said that the offense turned the ball over twice. Of course, turning the ball over is a cardinal sin for him. And, of course, I did not fail to mention that the Bears, they immediately put up 14 points off of each of those turnovers. The Mason Rudolph interception, Bears scored a touchdown after that. And then the Rudolph strip sack, I believe in the third quarter of the game, the Bears scored a touchdown out of that as well to go up by 10 points. So Tomlin bringing up, of course, the offense not doing its job, not doing the one thing that he probably harps on them week in, week out, day in, day out to do, which is don't turn the ball over. They failed in that aspect. On to the defense. He said that the defense didn't get as many turnovers as possible. He said that they allowed the takeaways, that the defense had missed opportunities for more takeaways. That was clearly obvious. There was, a few times in that game where the team either, dropped interceptions. Kyle Duggar had another one thrown right at him, went right through his hands. There was another one. I kind of was a little bit hard on James Pierre yesterday. I said a interception went through his hands. Then I remember it was tipped on the way there. You had Joey Porter Jr. get his hands on a football, but it was called back on a offsides penalty. So Tomlin definitely right to call out his defense, saying missed opportunities on takeaways. But also, I'd be more critical of this defense, not bowing up at important times in the game. It felt like for a large chunk of that game that the defense didn't stop the Bears when they needed to. The Bears stopped the Bears when the very few times they weren't clicking on offense. And the Steelers are actually pretty lucky that Caleb Williams did not have his most accurate day throwing the football. Yes, he had the 3 passing touchdowns, but I believe he was hitting a 59% completion percentage, and he was god-awful throwing everything high in the first half of that ball game. So Tomlin bringing up the defense's main issue, not getting more takeaways, which that unit of the ball seems to live and die by, and there's no in between. Either they're going to get 5 turnovers a game and hold the opposition to no more than 14 to 17 points, or they're going to get 1, maybe none turnovers in a game and give up 30 plus points. And there's very little margin in between those two outcomes for the Steelers defense. On to the injury report today. This one pretty long, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a pretty bad look today on a Tuesday for the Steelers at some key positions. Tomlin did say, well, let's start with the good news. Let's get the good news out of the way because there's really one, maybe two good injury updates from Mike Tomlin here today. The first one, of course, what everyone wants to know, Aaron Rodgers. Tomlin said he did work his tail off to be able to play against the Bears, but ultimately Saturday they decided to hold him out and protect him. Tomlin did say today he is optimistic about Rodgers' ability to go versus the Bills. He standing by that stance he had on Sunday. He did say Rodgers will be limited early in the week. That is of no surprise here. Probably be a limited participant Wednesday, maybe even Thursday. And then you might see Rodgers be a full go on Friday. Also, Tomlin said he is optimistic about the return of Alex Highsmith. Highsmith missing last game with a pectoral injury. He's been fighting through this pec injury, I think, since he aggravated it against the Chargers a couple of weeks ago. I think Highsmith missed the past two games, so hopefully they're able to put a brace or something. I don't know how they're going to be able to protect his pec, but if he's good to go, now you're entering crunch time in the season. You've already lost the division lead to the Ravens. You're going to be in a battle with them where every game, every win is crucial for the rest of the season. It's all hands on deck, even if you're not 100%. Speaking of not 100%, now we get into the bad news from Mike Tomlin's press conference today. Two gentlemen already ruled out for Sunday's game, and both of them, they are young, both of them at very key positions that you don't want to have backups playing at. The first, Broderick Jones. That stinger that he had after, I think, a Chicago Bear player tried to jump up near him and sort of landed on his neck. That knocked Jones out for the rest of the game. That stinger, more serious than what we initially think, even though it was reported he was, looking fine in the locker room after the game. Jones out with a neck injury, will not play against Buffalo. Tomlin, throughout the press conference, brought up the likes of Calvin Anderson and Andres Pete, who will work at filling in for Jones since he is out. Tomlin said he's been pleased with Calvin Anderson as a swing tackle. Also said he's been happy and comfortable with Andres Pete, who got, I think, one start. I think he started at left guard in place of Isaac Seumalo against the Chargers and ended up getting pulled maybe during that game. So those two, Andres Pete, Calvin Austin, Steelers going to look within to fill in for Broderick Jones, at least for this one game. As for the other injury here, second time this year that this rookie, has an injury and will miss some time, hopefully not a ton of time. Derek Harmon, he already being rolled out today with a knee injury for Sunday's game. Battled through this knee injury, Tomlin said, throughout the rest of the Bears game, but he will not play this week. I think it might have been one of those scenarios where, hey, the knee injury, it's already going to be something that's going to make him miss time. Might as well go out and fight through it for the rest of this game instead of, just sitting out and doing nothing. Tomlin did confirm, though, I'm going to take this as at least a positive sign with Harmon's injury. It is not the same injury that he had that made him miss the first 2 weeks or so of the season. That was an MCL sprain that he sustained in the final preseason game. Tomlin confirming that this is a new injury. It is not that one. So I'm going to take that as a positive sign, because if it was the same MCL as before, that could be a season ender. Tomlin, in terms of replacing Derek Harmon, brought up Y.A. Black by name, said he's been really encouraged by his growth throughout the season, and now he's going to be in line to start over Harmon on the line. Black did get his hands on a fumble in the Bears game, so hopefully he's able to ride that momentum into this Buffalo Bills matchup this weekend. And then to wrap up, talk about the injury situation Tomlin mentioning these guys, saying that they will be limited early in the week, but should be able to play. Brought up Joey Porter Jr. Porter was in and out as the Bears game went along, I believe, with a lower body injury. DK Metcalf, no shock whatsoever that he will be limited early in the week. Ankle or lower leg injury for him, got knocked out for a couple of snaps twice in that Bears game. Both times he was rolled up on, one by an offensive lineman, I think, another by Jonnu Smith on a jet sweep. And Ben Skoranek, not quite sure what his injury is, but he will be limited early in the week as well. So the injury report there for the Steelers, the list, unfortunately, keeps on growing, and just sucks now that the Steelers, they're not just losing, the older guys like your Rodgers and your Darius Slays, your Isaac Seumalo's. It sucks that it's, not only those guys now, the older guys who you can kind of expect they aren't going to make it through the entire season without getting nicked up here and there. Now the injury bug is spreading over to the younger, more durable guys on this team in Harmon and Jones. So hopefully they have a speedy recovery, and hopefully everyone else that Tomlin mentioned today on the injury report will be able to get some R&R and be good to go in this huge matchup at Acrisure Stadium against the Bills on Sunday. Last thing Tomlin mentioned before he got into the Q&A portion of his press conference, of course, hyped up the Buffalo Bills. Had to mention Josh Allen, of course. Also brought up their defense and how he loves their defense. It's a homegrown defense, not too many outside parts brought in. Mentioned the likes of Greg Russo by name, who Russo, I think we remember from last preseason, was absolutely a force of nature against the Steelers' offensive line. So Tomlin very impressed with this defense. Of course, Josh Allen doesn't need any more advertising here on how good he is. We all know that. So that's what Tomlin did before getting into the Q&A, hyping up the Bills team, which, by the way, the Bills, they will be mentioned again in the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment because you have the Bills, making an addition today, and it's an addition that the Steelers could have made themselves. Onto the Q&A part of Tomlin's press conference, wrapping up what he had to say today. Was questioned a good bit about the defense and how they combated what the Bears did through the air, more specifically what they did formation-wise on the back end to prevent those big passing plays. Tomlin said that he was a little bit caught off guard. Well, didn't say he was caught off guard, but did say that the Bears have had more play action passing and they used that play action better than they had expected. The Bears did that more and more efficiently, more fluidly, as Tomlin said, than they had in previous games. Implied that with the Bears doing that, the Steelers had to break up their too high safety look that they have been using with some great success over the past couple of games. They've had to bring more guys down towards the line of scrimmage to make sure the Bears running game did not get going with the big passing game. Tomlin was also asked a detailed question about the team being in cover 3 during the Bears running a 4 verts look. And Tomlin, very not snarky response, but dismissive, not answering the question. I'm not going to peel back the layers of how we function from a schematic standpoint, although I am impressed by the depths of your question. That was his answer. Please, Mike, why do we have to do that? I know we all knew that when Tomlin hears a question like that, he's going to immediately fall back to, we're not going to, let you know what we're doing, but would be nice to know what we're doing, because now the schematics, they've been called out pretty much all year long. They've been called out by fans. They've been called out by former players. I think right now James Harrison's blood pressure is still high from ripping Tomlin's scheme and them not being able to adjust to shreds from yesterday. And you had Patrick Queen kind of half bite his tongue, but also let slip out that sometimes it's hard for the Steelers DBs to, have everything covered when they're running the same schematics on a regular basis. So I know Tomlin, they're doing his normal coach speak thing. He's done this for years where he says, we're not gonna show you how the hot dog is made. Remember that Tomlinism that he once had out there. But at this point, he's not just saying that to protect his scheme. He's saying that to protect himself, because I don't even think he believes that his scheme is working. But is it going to change? Absolutely not. So that was just a wrong answer there from Tomlin, in my opinion. Steelers fans, they're going to have a field day with that one for a while. Also, was brought up the offense and the game plan they had. Tomlin was asked if there was more opportunities in the middle of the field that the Steelers would like to exploit moving forward. Tomlin saying, quote, maybe it's a week-to-week thing. When you look at the large body of work, there's probably more opportunities for us on the interior portions of the field. No crap. Get the hell out of here. There's more opportunities to use the middle of the field. Jeez, middle of the field, it must be the Bermuda Triangle or something, because everyone wants to avoid that. My thing is that it's a week-to-week thing. All right, going and targeting the middle of the field, week-to-week thing. Got it. In what sort of calculation or set mindset was it to avoid the middle of the field this week when they were trying out fans out in the freaking tailgate parking lots to play middle linebacker? You had guys I haven't even heard of. DeMarco Jones, who the fook is that guy, as Conor McGregor would say. Ruben Hypolite Jr., a fourth-round rookie. They called up like 5 different guys from the practice squad. Week to week, my ass. That was the most obvious thing that you needed to attack in that game. You didn't even try them once. Get your tight ends working the middle of the field against these linebackers, and they didn't do a single bit of it. Instead, let's keep throwing it out wide to the flat for screen plays and pitch tossing it, because that's what Tomlin likes. Short passes without any sort of threat of explosive plays down the middle of the field, downfield in general, to be exact. We read off the stat yesterday. Steelers, 0 for 20 when passes travel more than 20 air yards this month, with 2 interceptions, something like that. So just unbelievable that it's a week-to-week thing. Well, if it wasn't, good enough to target in the middle of the field this past weekend, then when the hell will it be, in my opinion? And the last thing that I'll bring up here from Tomlin's press conference today, there's one other thing we'll bring up later on in the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment when it is more, prevalent. Tomlin did mention Asante Samuel Jr. today. I thought mentioning practice squatters were too low on the totem pole for him. I guess he had time for it today. Said that ASJ has been working his tail off and is quickly getting acclimated to the scheme, with Joey Porter Jr. Being limited this week. And, who knows when someone else could drop in the secondary. I mean, Darius Slay, he's still, teetering on that edge of falling off as a corner, plus the concussion issues. Might be soon enough Asante Samuel Jr. Time. I mean, can't get any worse at this point. Also, can we get MVS up here now? He's been here for 3 weeks? I'd rather, see you take a deep sideline shot to him. He's 6'5", rather than throw it to 5'10" Roman Wilson 2 or 3 times a game on a go ball. So, just let's get the guys up here, because got to overturn all the stones now before this season truly goes off the rails. And I think that does it for the main talking points of Tomlin's press conference today. Injury news, not that much good. No Jones, no Harmon. Sucks for those 2 youngsters, especially in Jones's case, because He has developed into a most of the time serviceable left tackle. I'll start him off there, but now you're going to have either Calvin Anderson or Andres Pete over there. You have no idea how they're going to do against this Bills pass rush. And then just more lip service and word salad from Tomlin, still masking that this team has various serious issues, mainly at the schematic level. So what was your guys' favorite thing that Tomlin brought up today at his press conference? Let me know. Going to catch up on the comment section right now from you guys. You guys got a bunch of comments in during that recap of Tomlin's presser today. Let's go here to Mr. Concepts here. Oh, let's actually go to Flacco here real quick. Too many teams with our record. I'd have tried for that field goal. Talking about the final drive of the game for the Steelers, they would have had, a 64-yard field goal for Chris Boswell instead of going for it on 4th and 9 or whatever it was. Here's the thing, 64-yarder, would I have confidence in Boz to drill that? Absolutely, because we just saw him hit a 60-yarder that would have been good from much more against the Jets in week 1 of the season. But the thing that also that someone, I think on 93.7 The Fan brought up is that we remember kickers, they have special balls, the K balls as they have. At that point, Steelers have no timeouts left with around 20 seconds. There is no way that they're able to sub in a kick ball for that play. Boz is just going to be kicking with the regular ball that every other player on the field is using. So would that have made a difference? I'm sure a little bit. Could Boswell still have made it? I'd probably say yes because he is that good. But field goal, yeah, could have gone for it. But, we're talking about field goal. It should have been a no-brainer to go for the field goal if the offensive play calling was better. Why do we have guys running shallow 3-yard crossing routes with no timeouts and 30 seconds on the clock when you need to get, 6-7 yards for a first down? So play calling really set up that decision for failure there, in my opinion. Concepts here. Mason did have a 30-yard run, predicted a 15-plus yard rushing touchdown, so I was close, kind of, not really. Still gave myself a cookie. Got to give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back, Concepts. That's fine. With me. Give yourself a little bit of a credit that you saw something coming. But hey, that 30-yard run, of course, taken back because neither Rudolph nor Kenneth Gainwell or Calvin Austin, Mike Tomlin, no one in that stadium except for Aaron Rodgers had the situational awareness that the Steelers were lined up wrong there. Concepts here, middle of the field, scary. Why would we throw there? It's like a sketchy back alley shortcut to the end zone, safer to take the long way. Yeah, apparently Mike Tomlin takes that philosophy of the quickest route to a destination is a straight line. Yeah, he's taken all sorts of well-lit roads and making sure that he avoids the wrong part of town, which is the middle of the field. It's super scary to him all of a sudden. Just unbelievable. It still irks me. You had nobodies at linebacker, and even, their safeties, Brisker and Byard, they were a little banged up coming into this game, so I don't think they were feeling, all that spry to, track down guys and tackle guys over the middle of the field. But nope, Steelers didn't want to do any of that. Special teams, in my opinion, helped get us 6 wins. Can't drag our special teams down for a one-off. I agree with that. I mean, yeah, did special teams probably have their I think it was their worst game of the year, except at least from a punting standpoint. And they also had a penalty that still did we ever get a explanation on where Brandon Eccles was holding the guy on that one punt? One of the few good punts from Waitman that downed the Bears inside their own 10. I don't think so. So, yeah, I'm not going to go too hard on the defense like Tomlin. Certainly, I wouldn't be bringing up special teams right off the bat in his press conference like he did. Concepts here again. Knew that easy dropped pick by Duggar would be a game changer. Dante Moncrief, Mr. No Hands, could have caught that. Well, probably not, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think Dante Moncrief was going to be holding on to that. I mean, he was, as much as he was Mr. Dropson before Deontay was, and he did it with flying colors. But yeah, that Duggar interception, that missed interception, it was a killer too in real time. But we, in the back of our mind, said, "Oh wait, we'll just wait for him to make a play later in the game and make up for it, just like he did against the Bengals." But that never really came. You can maybe make up for it one week, but the next, you're not going to get that opportunity to redeem yourself. Flacco here, a lot of offensive issues. We aren't capitalizing on our turnovers. Refs still screwed us on that 4th and 1. The Connor Hayward tush push, that play was a little, a little mismatch in terms of timing from snap and everyone there, but he definitely did get it. But Steelers, they, like you said, couldn't capitalize off of turnovers. There are many factors, many instances in that game where the Steelers could have helped themselves, and that missed 4th and 1 wouldn't have mattered in the grand scheme of things. And offensive penalties hurt too. Yeah, and penalties offensively, I mean, they don't take a ton in a game. I don't think there's been a game this season where the Steelers have had, 5, 6 offensive penalties. But it seems like when they do take those penalties, they're always, backbreakers that could have been easily avoidable if everyone was on their P's and Q's and knew how to line up properly and got set before the ball was snapped after they are sent in motion. Just small things like that, small details of the game. That's what's hurt him the most, the avoidable ones, Flacco here, Kenny G killed a big Mason run. Yep, absolutely. Facts are facts. We have to undoubtedly get a first down. There's questioning all yards. We're getting more than one game. Just it seems where we're back to an instance where every yard is like ripping out teeth with this offense, and it's absolutely horrendous. Concept here. Love Darnell Washington. No hate at all. His awful missed block is to blame for the Mason Rudolph sack fumble. Might be his first missed block all year, but it was crucial. I'm actually not going to give Darnell any hate for that, because we love Darnell Washington. Like you said, I fully 100% side with you in the first part of that comment there, Concepts. Love Darnell, no hate at all. He has been a stud all year, blocking and when he gets the ball and is able to run over guys yards after the catch. But for that, yes, missed the assignment, got beat really badly. But also, who was he going against one-on-one? He wasn't going against some, practice squatter coming off the sideline to spell a guy for one play. He was going up against Montez Sweat, who was already well on his way to wrecking the game at that point. I don't care. You can be, the best, blocking tight end in the history of the NFL. By when it's all said and done, Washington could end up being that. But I'm not at any point going to put my blocking tight end on their number one pass rusher in any sort of sense. I know Sweat's not on this level, but that'd be like putting Washington on Myles Garrett for a snap. And look, you did it one time and it burned you bad. So I'm not going to give Washington any sort of hate on that. I'd rather at that point in the game just double Montez Sweat, because I don't think anyone else on that Bears D-line was going to, threaten you from a pass rush standpoint. So there's another, throw it on the pile of personnel deployment and assignments by Arthur Smith, in my opinion. Jonathan Harvey here. Steelers have a 90% chance of being 6-6 and victim to a Buffalo blowout from Caleb to Josh Allen, a desperate Bills team. And it's a rested Bills team too. Aren't they coming off a rotten showing against Davis Mills in the Houston Texans? So they're going to be motivated, of course, because they're still trying to stay in the hunt for the AFC East with the Patriots. And also, they're rested. And I mean, Josh Allen, it's this Bills team. I think they don't look as a more well-rounded unit as what we've seen in years past. I think it's either Allen carries them or they are not going to get much. Well, Allen against this Steelers defense, you might as well just put him out there 1 versus 11 because I think that's how we expect it's going to go here today or here on the weekend. THP in here. Welcome, THP. Just brought a Nick Kurtz Topps Update Orange out of 25 auto. Woo, that is awesome there, THP. Got a stack of a couple boxes of baseball cards just off screen here to my right. Right now, I'm looking here. Got a couple of loose ones sitting out. I forget what it is. I think it was, I forget what brand it was, but it's not game worn. But I do have a jersey relic, Malik Neighbors jersey card. Not game worn though, so it's not going to be as big as of worth as what it may sound like. Al on the prowl here. Welcome, Al. If the Steelers lose this week, which I am pretty sure is going to happen, hey, me too, they should throw in the kid until the end of the season. Talking about Will Howard, I will reiterate what I said yesterday, Al. You, just like me and a large majority of Steelers fans, if say this season all of a sudden were to go down the crapper, let's say Aaron Rodgers gets hurt again, because as long as he's healthy, he's going to play. If this season is, well down the crapper, I would put in Howard, but also I'm worried about hurting the kid's confidence and putting him at risk of destroying his career before it even gets started. We remember Will Howard injured in training camp, absolutely no preseason action, and he's only 2 weeks of being activated to the active roster, and he's doing what in practice exactly? He's not getting any reps with the first team. Maybe he gets some second team snaps, but he's running scout team and stuff like that. So I would, as much as I would want to see Howard, I also think you do risk, of course, bringing in another quarterback, draft, free agency, stuff like that. But just for Howard's sake, instead of, throwing him to the wolves without taking a snap in an NFL game, if you put him in there, he's going to be taking his first NFL snap in a game with, starters going against him, probably teams that are hungry to make a push for the postseason. I'd rather just, have him maybe just take the rest of the year, still learn under Rodgers' tutelage, learn the playbook and all that, and then see what he has next preseason, because I just don't want to make the same Kenny Pickett like mistake with Howard that they have done in the past. MVS time too, agree with that. There, Flacco. Concepts here. When DK went out, he was replaced with Scotty, who whiffed on his block, getting Booth killed on a screen that could have gotten 20 yards. Again, there, yes, Metcalf, when he went out, I'll admit my confidence in the offense doing anything in that game really went down to as close to zero as you possibly can. But that's another thing you bring up there. Yeah, you mentioned why not put Skoranek there instead. I don't know at that point in the game if Skoranek was hurt, because Tomlin brought him up in the injury report today. But wouldn't you rather have the roles reversed there? Have a 5'9", I guess you can say shifty Scotty Miller catching the ball, and have Muth blocking. I mean, he's no blocking tight end, but at least he's, a full, 8 inches taller than Scotty Miller, something like that. So, again, another mismatch in personnel. You got maybe the right guys out there to do it, but you got them doing the wrong tasks, in my opinion. Looking here, seeing if there's any other comments from you guys. You guys are getting a lot of comments in there. I appreciate it. Keep it on up. I'll try to keep up with them during the show here today. Concepts worried about Broderick with that dirty hit by Montez to his neck already being rolled out. Can't be good. Yeah, that was Montez Sweat who jumped on him. I don't know if that's a dirty play. I don't know what was going through Montez Sweat's head there. Maybe, I think at that time Rudolph was like kind of scrambling and threw a pass that direction. So I think maybe Sweat was trying to, by some miracle, get up there and try to get a piece of the pass. But yeah, him landing on Broderick's neck, that in real time, it looked like one of those weird looking plays where you're like, all right, that usually doesn't happen, and that probably hurt a lot, and ends up that Jones is out. And neck injuries, of course, kind of like back injuries, I take more worry in those types of things than, your common NFL injuries like ACLs, which I think, modern medicine has turned ACLs into less of a career killer of an injury than in the past. Your, you know, shoulder injuries, stuff like that. The back and neck injuries, those worry me more than anything else. So hopefully, Broad will be all right. Final two plays of the game here, concepts. We finally throw over the middle of the field. Ironically, it's the worst possible timing to do that. It was honestly, ironically, the worst possible time for a lot of things in that game. Yeah, you used the middle of the field. Unfortunately, it's a 2 to 5 yard slant for DK Metcalf or Calvin Austin, and a guy is already bearing down on them to make the tackle for a minimal gain, and you only have 40 seconds and no timeouts. Also, I mentioned it yesterday in the game recap. The Steelers finally put together a fourth quarter drive where they had 17 plays and nearly 8 minutes of possession. Unfortunately, at that time, they're down by 2 scores. So they finally did some things that we've been waiting for them to do all season. But of course, they did it at the worst possible times, like you mentioned there. Jonathan here again. Steelers have the best depth at tight ends in the league. I think I'd probably say so as well. Maybe not the most high-end tight ends in the league, but depth, yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure you take Muth, Washington, or Jonnu Smith, you can find a couple of teams where those guys would be number one tight ends. Those men are being targeted 80% of the time. Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember the stat. I had it before the Bears game. I think the Steelers are targeting tight ends 33% of the time. And I mentioned it, in my key matchups of the game. Steelers, you're throwing every third pass to tight end against those backup linebackers, fourth, fifth, even sixth string linebackers. Why not, target those tight ends even more? But nope, they didn't do it unless it was on a screen. So next man up for Pittsburgh, injuries happen. Good depth is required, says Jonathan. TRL on the prowl here. Always an awesome show. Not sure if you're talking about this show here. If you are, appreciate it. Good point about Darnell and Sweat. People blame Mason for the coaching that screwed Darnell and Mason. Yeah, tons of instances in that game, tons of plays. I think you can wind it back to coaching more than anything. By all means, I mean, the players, they still are supposed to go out there and make the play. But, coaching didn't do them any sort of favors. I think if you were to go back and rewatch the tape, the players might have bailed out a poor, call or assignment put out there by the coach more than the coach did something to set the players up for possible success, even though they were outside of their comfort zone there. I think that's 100% certain. Actually, I think we played well against the Bears. Says out on the prowl. The problem is our room has zero room for error. Yeah. No room for error now. Steelers, according, to the game plan that they had, don't throw anything over the middle, rely on turnovers. They would have had to play the perfect game. I think the Steelers, out of the 2 or 3 interceptions they dropped, they probably would have needed to get all 2 or 3 of them if they were going to get out of there with the win. They needed to be perfect. They weren't. They were pretty far from it, even though there were some parts of the game that you could squint and say that was nice. But now you definitely have no room for error because, I mean, on the field, you're going to be playing some tough teams, the Ravens twice, the Bills, the Lions. You got a Monday night game, a primetime night game, which the Steelers have been horrendous on in all 3 of their showings this year. They'll be playing the Dolphins, which the Dolphins don't look as much as a pushover as they were earlier in the season. So you got no room for error in your play on the field, and you have no room for error in the standings because now Thanksgiving right around the corner. You see the whole layout we got going on here tonight. Yeah, nothing, no room for error in the standings because now you're playing catch up. Got more yards after the catch than throwing yards. LMAO. Yep, 116 yards after the catch out of the 171 passing yards for Mason Rudolph. So you're spot on with that there, Flacco. 9 of you in here right now. 11 of you now in here right now. Welcome to the live stream. If you are new here on your way in, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel. Up to 642 subscribers here on the channel. Appreciate you all joining me here on this Tuesday night. We'll give an update at the end of the show. Stick around. We'll give an update of what will be going on for the rest of this week with the Thanksgiving holiday. Right now, though, we are going to switch gears. Tomlin press conference and Steelers talk out of the way for now. We'll set that off to the side and get back to it here in a couple of minutes. Want to switch gears right now over to baseball. Yes, baseball talk in November. Pretty uncommon, especially with the team we cover here, the Pittsburgh Pirates. But we do have something that sort of relates to them to talk about today. A trade, a pretty big trade, was made in Major League Baseball, and it involved a NL Central team, the Pirates division, the St. Louis Cardinals, making a trade, trading away their ace starting pitcher, Sonny Gray, who he has the Pirates number. They are trading Gray to the Boston Red Sox. In return, the Cardinals, they are going to be getting 2 prospect pitchers. The number 5 Red Sox prospect, pitching prospect, the left-handed pitcher, Brandon Clark, and also I think another sort of bottom of the top 30 prospect was up for bits of the season last year for the Red Sox, Richard Fitz. So the Cardinals, they are proving that they are sellers right now, trading away Sonny Gray, thank God, because he is a Pirate killer. The Cardinals, they're also trading $21 million in cash to the Red Sox with Gray to help pay his salary. So the reason why I'm bringing this up in this way, Gray to the Red Sox, of course, you know, what I already mentioned, he's out of the Pirates division, won't be able to haunt the Bucks much longer. But I also bring this up for 2 reasons. One, the Red Sox or the Cardinals trading away Gray along with money to help pay his salary. That tells me they are going to be sellers this offseason. And it was just yesterday we brought up from Ken Rosenthal and Evan Drellich, 2 MLB insiders from The Athletic. The Pirates, they are actively scouring the trade market, trying to add someone. And these 2 guys, Rosenthal, Drellich, said that the Pirates have reportedly checked in with the Cardinals for players like Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar, and Nolan Gorman. Those guys with some infield, outfield versatility. Nootbaar, I think, strictly a corner outfielder. So with the Cardinals now trading off Sonny Gray, I wasn't going to believe that they were going to be hardcore sellers. Maybe they would have, maybe they eventually this offseason will get rid of one of Donovan, Nootbaar, or Gorman at some point this offseason. I believe that. But now that they got rid of Gray, I know, 36 years old, so he probably wasn't going to be around much longer, but still, they're willing to ship off their top guy for prospects. Then, hey, Buccos, maybe you can slide in and get one of these guys if they're going to be selling the farm. And maybe you could be opening up the door to maybe move a pitching prospect or a pitcher on the major league roster, which brings me to point number 2, why I bring this up. I mentioned yesterday, I set off Sonny Gray to the side because I thought he was just going to be the top of the rotation. Other than now that Sonny Gray's gone, who all is there to pitch for the Cardinals? A couple of young guys, a couple of prospects that they might bring up. I think they got Matthew Liberatore still there, left-hander still kind of young. And then Miles Michaelis, who he's, been there forever, not going to be playing much longer. So I brought this up yesterday, but now it is doubly worth mentioning now. Could the Cardinals be a trade destination for a Mitch Keller or a Johan Oviedo? By Pirates, according to Jeff Passan and Ken Rosenthal, they're willing to move and listen to trade offers for both of those guys. Now that the Cardinals have an opening for a top-ish of the rotation type of pitcher, might be a destination for a Mitch Keller or Oviedo. I believe the Pirates got Oviedo from there when he was a prospect 3 or 4 years ago. But I do hate, I'm not a big fan of in-division trades, but I mean, if Keller, could land you a Lars Nootbaar, a corner outfielder, left-handed bat with a short porch there at PNC Park, or a Brandon Donovan, who I think Donovan, not sure, is he a hardcore lefty? I can't remember if he's a strict lefty or a switch hitter, but you need help on the infield as well. One of those guys could help. Just throwing it out there. Cardinals now have an opening for a top of the rotation pitcher. Pirates have checked in with the Cardinals about guys recently, according to 2 insiders. Maybe something could be in the works there. I mean, seems like 2 trade puzzle pieces that would fit together to me. But wonder what you guys think. Also, didn't want to save this for the extra Pittsburgh sports news because I would have had no idea how to transition into it. Talking about pitching in the NL Central, the Cubs today, they bolstering their bullpen, adding right-handed reliever Phil Maton on a 2-year deal. So that's what the other big story I wanted to bring up today. The Pirates, division rival, the Cardinals, they seem to be sellers this offseason unless, they turn around and make a big move to replace Gray, but I'm not going to hold my breath on it. So just wanted to bring that up here today. What are your guys' comments on that? If you have any, let me know in the comment section below. Gray is great. That's an L on them. Yeah, I think, having Sonny Gray for the Cardinals was good for them for a couple of years when they were still, a team that they thought could be, competing for the playoffs. You know what? Just an analogy that hit me. I think the St. Louis Cardinals, they, a couple of years ago were in the same position that the Pittsburgh Penguins were. A team that has some aging pieces like Paul Goldschmidt at the time and Nolan Arenado. And they were saying, hey, we still got this aging core here. Let's take one more kick at the can here and bring in some help. And that's when Sonny Gray, that's when they signed Gray. And they came in, tried to, push for the playoffs for those couple of years. Ultimately did not work. And now, just like the Penguins of today that we're watching here in real time, what they're going through, now it might be a time where you sell off some pieces and bring in some prospects for the future. The Penguins are in the middle of that. Maybe the Cardinals are a less accomplished baseball version of the Pirates. But yeah, Gray onto Fenway out of the NL Central. Thank God there. Now maybe the Pirates are able to not be dominated and strike out 10 times against any of the Cardinals pitchers this year. 8 of you in here still right now. Welcome to the live stream. Going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment here in a second, wrapping up today's bit of news. Real quick, before we continue, going to go back to Twitter here in the Twitter timeline, see if we have anything new popping up before we continue on. See here. We do have a bit of news. This an hour ago from Kevin Gorman. I'll save this for the Pirates portion of the extra Pittsburgh sports news. But the Pirates, another coach from last year's staff, getting let go. So we'll mention who that is here in a second. Also, now we are seeing a ton of videos here today from stuff going on in the Pittsburgh community. All three of the professional Pittsburgh sports teams active in the community doing some charitable works for the Thanksgiving holiday. I'll bring those up as well when we get to that part. Let's see here. Anything else going on? Ooh, this interesting here. Nothing for the Steelers. But veteran defensive tackle Quentin Jefferson, been in the NFL for a while. He's a Pittsburgh native and a Woodland Hills grad. The Lions placing him on waivers today. If this Derek Harmon injury, is of any sort of long-term thing, maybe look to the waiver wire to bring in help. I definitely would kick the tires on Quentin Jefferson, because now that Harmon's hurt, I think defensive line, that's probably, aside from, wide receiver, probably the position on the team with the least depth, because you already lost Isaiah Loudermilk and Daniel Ekwale. More on Ekwale coming up here in a moment. And now Harmon's down again. You got what? Freaking Hayward, Benton, and Black as your starters. And then one backup that I really know of off the top of my head, Otamewo, and he's been a healthy scratch for most of the year. So, maybe that's something to keep a look on there. Quentin Jefferson put on waivers from the Detroit Lions. Lions will be in action tomorrow, of course. They always play on Thanksgiving. Let's get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment now, since we're talking about the Steelers. Sticking with the Steelers, top extra news story for them today. Let's give her a nice, warm round of applause. He is one step closer to immortality. Steelers alumni wide receiver, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, Hines Ward, advancing to the semifinal stage for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026 in the modern era category. He now, with 25 other players, former players, semifinalists for the Hall. In that group there with Hines Ward, this is now, I believe here, let me double check this. This is Hines Ward's 10th time being a semifinalist. So, 10th time's a charm here, because he's running out of opportunities here to get in as a modern era player. He better freaking get in this time around, I'll tell you. But still, Ward down in the semifinalist category. He is in some very good company there for wide receivers, if there's going to be any to get into the Hall this time around. Larry Fitzgerald, Steve Smith Sr., Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt, those are the other four receivers as semifinalists along with Ward. Just some other guys of note here that are semifinalists this year: Drew Brees, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Jason Witten, Frank Gore, Fred Taylor, Vince Wilfork, Robert Mathis, Luke Kuechly, Terrell Suggs, Marshall Yonda, Jari Evans, Steve Wisniewski, Earl Thomas, Darren Woodson, Rodney Harrison. So tons and tons and tons of good names in the semifinalist category here, along with Hines Ward. Hopefully he is able to outlast most of those gentlemen and finally get a bust for himself in Canton. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin today, this was one of the last things he brought up in his press conference. I was saving it for now, talking about his pitch for Hines Ward to be in the Hall of Fame. Quote, "Numbers do not tell the story, although his numbers are special. If you were around him or in stadiums around him, you understood what playing with and against Hines was about. He was an offensive perimeter bully." So, glowing endorsement there from Mike Tomlin. I say it's about time that Hines gets in. How about you? I do still, deep down, as much as I want to believe that Hines deserves to get in, I still think that the chips are stacked against him. Also, mentioning the Pro Football Hall of Fame cutting down to 26 semifinalists. James Harrison, Marquise Pouncey, Gary Anderson, those three former Steelers, they, along with Ward, were up for the Hall of Fame this year and made it some of the way in the narrowed down process. They did not make the semifinalist stage this year, so that absolutely sucks for them. Harrison, a little shocked by him. He, along with Ward, was a semifinalist last year, did not even make that stage, so he kind of took a step back. Hopefully, he's able to bounce back in next year's crop of Hall of Fame bidders. Sticking with some news related to the Steelers here, but not directly. Told you I was going to bring up the Buffalo Bills again and the Steelers wide receiver situation. I think last week, the New Orleans Saints waiving wide receiver Brandon Cooks. I think, we brought it up passing by at some point last week, and we mentioned, hey, what the hell? Just throw stuff against the wall, see what sticks. Well, yesterday, last night, Cooks cleared waivers, becoming a free agent, and he wasn't on the open market for long because today, the Buffalo Bills signed wide receiver Brandon Cooks, cleared waivers yesterday. Now he is a Buffalo Bill. It is not a practice squad signing. So Cooks, he is on the 53-man roster for Buffalo. All of a sudden, Cooks goes from, could he be an option for the Steelers to now he could be facing the Steelers on Sunday, depending on how quickly he gets adapted to the playbook and scheme up there in Buffalo. Which, by the way, Buffalo, you want to talk about depth? None of these guys are, true number one wide receivers. Hell, maybe even you can make a bid that only one, maybe two of them are WR2 material. But the Bills, they do have some serious depth at wide receiver that puts the Steelers' wide receiver depth to shame. Their wide receiver room now, Khalil Shakir, Josh Palmer, Brandon Cooks, Keon Coleman, Tyrell Shavers, Elijah Moore, Curtis Samuel, and then on the practice squad, they also got Gabe Davis and Stephen Gosnell. So lots and lots of names there, some of which have been rumored to the Steelers in the past, like Cooks, Elijah Moore, Curtis Samuel, Gabe Davis. I think we talked about those guys in some way, shape, or form in the offseason or even earlier this season. So, the Bills, they add Brandon Cooks. He will not be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Last couple things here on the Steelers for today. They did make some roster moves, I think, that I mentioned earlier. Mainly practice squad moves. Wide receiver Cornell Powell and defensive end Anthony Goodlow. I think both of those gentlemen at different points last week were brought in for tryouts. They will now be added to the practice squad, getting released from the practice squad. DB Daquan Hardy, and after a brief cup of coffee back in the city where his career began, Mark Robinson back out on the street looking for a new opportunity elsewhere. He released from the practice squad as well. Told you I'd bring up Daniel Ekuale again. Ekuale today getting into some trouble. According to Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Ekuale is being suspended without pay for 5 games by the NFL for violating the league's performance-enhancing substance policy. I wonder what that's about. I doubt, Ekuale was taken anything intentionally. I wonder if it's one of those, hey, I didn't know that this substance was banned by the NFL and it's a part of my rehab, so maybe he got bit in the butt by that. He is on season-ending IR, so these next 5 games, big whoop. He's going to miss those already. Last few things here on the Steelers today. Last thing, actually, overall. Mentioned yesterday, I believe, former Ravens kicker Justin Tucker working out with the New Orleans Saints as well as former Browns kicker Cade York. Well, the Saints, they are adding one of those, and I mean this with full pun intended. Justin Tucker isn't a Saint. Nope, they are going with Cade York. He is going to be signing with their practice squad to add him to the practice squad. Saints, they're releasing former Steeler linebacker Iku Leota, so maybe the Steelers can pick him up again, seeing how we're having a whole tour bringing back former linebackers to the practice squad. And the last thing related to the Steelers today, which it relates to all of the Pittsburgh professional sports teams. Like I mentioned, the Steelers today teaming up with the Pirates and the Penguins to have a Thanksgiving dinner distribution drive outside PNC Park. They, along with those other two teams, and them partnering up with Giant Eagle and the Pittsburgh Food Bank, distributing Thanksgiving dinners, helping provide for over 300 local families. That is awesome stuff, of course, like they do every holiday season. Good stuff there by the Pittsburgh Steelers and Penguins and Pirates. And speaking of the Pirates and that event at PNC Park, going to get into the extra Pirates news here for the day. Out there at that event, Pirates president Travis Williams, he was caught up with by Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Penguins and Pirates coverer Jason Mackey. He talked with Williams for a brief time, and Williams did have a couple of interesting quotes, mainly questions brought up about what the Pirates are going to be doing here during the offseason. A couple of quotes here from Jason's article. Go check it out at pittsburghpostgazette.com. Williams said that the team did miss the mark in being aggressive last offseason. Mentioned that they had an excellent opportunity with the pitching staff that they had, and still, in his mind, have one of the best in baseball. Of course, I would hope that's the case with Paul Skeens at the top of the rotation. So Williams, of course, at least someone in that Pirates organization taking accountability, saying that they missed the mark. Did say, though, and we haven't really heard this, at least I think in the past, talking about the Pirates bringing in better offensive help this year, saying talk is cheap. We can't just talk about it. We can't just try. We've got to execute. We know that much of the work being done in the off season. So sounds like maybe a little bit more vigor in the words of at least someone in that Pirates front office in terms of adding something of significance through free agency and the trade market. Hopefully it's not, your typical Tommy Phams and Rowdy Tellez's, your washed up veterans, stuff like that. Just a couple other things that Williams had to said today. Said that he's not going to give a specific number on what the Pirates payroll is going to be, which, don't want to back yourself into a corner if you're Williams. I would love for him to give a, solid number, but we know the Pirates aren't going to do that. Did say, though, that Bob Nutting has been pushing the hardest for the Pirates to make some big moves this offseason. His quote here, Bob has set clear goals and expectations of both myself and Ben to win and make the playoffs is the goal. He also said that he has made sure we have the resources to do it, knowing we have to be aggressive in the marketplace. So that there from Travis Williams today. I think the last thing he said is that there's overall good energy and positivity inside the Pirates front office. And he said, hopefully, as things start to unfold in the offseason and the Pirates hopefully finally maybe do something we haven't seen from them in a while, make a trade to bring in a proven bat, go and sign a top 25 free agent out there on the market. Hell, we'll even, start with baby steps here and just sign someone to a multi-year contract. He says that the Pirates front office is feeling positive, and hopefully the moves that they will make this offseason, that positivity and energy will spill over into the fan base. Well, if you want that so-called positivity and energy to spill over into the fan base, you better have, when you go to the water park and you have that kids section and you got the big bucket of water that fills up with water and then it dumps out all over the place. You need about 100 of those if you're going to, satisfy this fan base at this point in any sort of way to make it seem like we're legit contenders again. Just some other stuff here on the Pirates before we transition over to hockey, before we end the show here today. Did mention the breaking news within the past hour and a half. The Pirates letting go of another coach. Mendy Lopez won't return to the Pirates, according to Kevin Gorman of Trib Sports. The Pirates now an infield coach and an assistant pitching coach among the hires expected to be added to manager Don Kelly's staff. So Mendy Lopez, infield coach, gone here for this Pittsburgh Pirates team. Also, talking about the Pirates, and I honestly should have brought this up first after talking about Travis Williams and the Pirates spending money. Paul Skeens, he brought up today, he, according to the Associated Press, scheduled to make a 2025 pre-arbitration bonus pool of $3.4 million. And that is by far most across baseball this season. It might be one of the highest in MLB history in terms of pre-arb bonus pool money. $3.4 million is what he will make. Of course, that's as expected for a guy who's, first team All MLB, Cy Young Award winner, multiple other accolades that I'm forgetting right now because he's had so many this offseason. He making that $3.4 million. That is well and above beyond the next guy, second on this list, Phillies pitcher Christopher Sanchez, who will get 2.7. So good stuff there from Skeens, getting the money in the grand scheme of things. That'll be chump change to what he's going to continue to make through endorsements and advertisements and stuff like that. And it'll be chump change. It'll be a penny to a $100 bill to what he's going to make when he gets his big boy contract eventually down the line. And the final thing on the Pirates here today, happy birthday to Pittsburgh Pirates relief pitcher Justin Lawrence, brought over last offseason from the Colorado Rockies. Injury ended up cutting his season short, but his contract was tendered over the weekend. He will be brought back for the 2026 season, or at least for spring training. And wrapping up here today with some Pittsburgh Penguins news. Not too much aside from what's going on at practice and some roster moves for the Pens. They, after getting their butts whooped on Friday and Saturday, again, they're in the midst of a pretty long break in action right now. They will finally play another game tomorrow night, I believe. Who do they play tomorrow night? They play someone at home. It's a Wednesday game. Let me see here real quick. Why is it slipping my mind who they're playing? They play the Buffalo Sabres, who are 9-4. The Pens not much better at 10-6-5. So the Pens and Sabres, they do battle tomorrow night on Thanksgiving Eve. Before we get to that game, update on what's going on in the Pens world today. Another practice day today. Before practice, though, continued progress and good news on the injury front. Justin Brazeau, Noel Acciari, Philip Hollander, Ricard Raquel, all of those gentlemen skating before Pens practice today, as I think Raquel, Brazeau, Acciari, Hollander, I think they all are on injured reserve. So good news that they are still skating. Hopefully they're able to get back into practice soon enough. Getting back into practice today. Bad news, Brian Rust, second day out of practice for him with illness. I assume now 2 days out sick. I would have to guess that he will be a tough make for the lineup tomorrow night, despite what head coach Dan Muse says. We'll get into that in a second. Penguins lines today, Connor Dewar, Crosby, Ben Kindle for the second practice in a row, back up on the top line with Sid, Hayes, Malkin, Mantha, Ville Koivunen, still on IR, but he's got to be getting activated here soon. Back into line rushes with Tristan Brose, who will make his NHL debut tomorrow night, and Tommy Novak. Fourth line stays the same, Koppinen, Lizotte, Heinen, Parker Wotherspoon, Eric Carlson, Ryan Shea, Chris Letang, Ryan Graves, Matt Dumba. Those the three defense pairings today. No changes there. The goaltenders, though, for today's practice, Tristan Jarry, Arturs Shalovs, they operated as the primary goaltenders today. So Tristan Jarry, he could be making a return to the crease for the Penguins in short time. And Jari, actually, he was brought up in trade discussions again yesterday. This from the 32 Thoughts podcast that top NHL insider Elliot Friedman has. He says that he was told to watch on Pittsburgh and their goaltending depth. He says, who knows what they would do with all this and when, but someone just said to me that you should be including the Penguins as a team that has goaltending depth. So maybe the Pens, if they ever, get into a pinch where they're hammered with injuries at one position, or let's just say a team, a top team contending for the playoffs, let's say a goaltender goes down for them and they're willing to overpay for a goaltender. Maybe look Tristan Jarry, I guess Arturs Shalovs as well. One of those two guys could be not finishing the year here in Pittsburgh. I just wanted to bring that up. Wrapping up the Penguins news here today, we did hear from Dan Muse after practice, said a bunch of what we already just said. Brian Rust, same status as yesterday with his illness. Muse did say, I'm thinking he'll be back tomorrow. Will he play, though? I don't know. Illnesses you can't predict. Tristan Jarry, of course, progressing well. Would expect him to be available tomorrow. Koivunen, he is close to returning. Still has to be activated from IR. And confirmed Tristan Brose will make his NHL debut tomorrow. So the 2021 second-round pick will finally make it to the NHL. The other roster move that the Pens made today, this guy was just a sub-in line rushes in practice today. Sam Poulin, after a week, back up in the NHL, former Penguins first-round pick in 2019, 2020, one of those 2 years, back down in the minors. And guy just keeps on bumping up and down, between the league and the minors. Just sucks for him. And the last thing, I guess, relating to the Penguins for today, tomorrow, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, fresh off their USL championship win, they will be in PPG Paints Arena tomorrow night for a celebration of their championship win. They'll probably do the whole "It's a Hockey Night in Pittsburgh" intro to the game, and they'll be getting photos and stuff like that, meet and greets with fans. So congratulations to them once again. And last thing here for the Pens, my bad. Today, Blake Lizotte, Tommy Novak, Sergei Miroshov, we're talking about these Pittsburgh sports teams doing stuff in the community. These three not at that Thanksgiving dinner drive at PNC Park. Instead, Lizotte, Novak, Miroshov, they were at the Rainbow Kitchen serving Thanksgiving meals to those in need. Sergei Miroshov with a quote here: "It's nice to see people smiling. When you can help people, it is always beneficial for your heart. It's nice to be kind and to see kind people." So that, again, more good stuff that these Pittsburgh professional sports teams do in the community. They always go above and beyond, which is very, very nice to see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one last time here. Let's go here to the comment section, get your last couple of quotes and questions and stuff like that for the day. Let's see where I left off here. THP here, getting back into baseball talk here for a second. Texas Rangers traded Marcus Semien for a 32-year-old Brandon Nimmo and dumped cash. I did see that trade. That was another big trade. There's even, I think, someone out there saying, what the hell are the Mets doing? Do they realize Marcus Semien is falling off with the bat and stuff like that? But hey, not my problem there. Let's go here. See, Flacco right here. Hines Ward deserves it. But like you said here, THP, don't see Hines Ward making it. Has only 6 1,000-yard seasons. Not getting in over those guys, in my opinion. If so, then AB is first ballot. AB first ballot talent in production, but I think off the field plays more of a role in getting into the Hall of Fame than what we realize. I would like to see Hines get in, but I still think he's fighting an uphill battle. That's probably a big reason there too. THP was never an All-Pro. But hey, we're biased here. And, oh, never mind. I see Hines was AP second team a few times. Oh, not first team All-Pro. Unlike a couple of those other guys there. So, yeah, fighting an uphill battle. But hey, we can be biased in support of our guys. A good man, Hines, a good player. Yep, good man, good player. I mean, opposing players when he was playing might not have said that, but hopefully a good character carries some weight in this conversation as well. Bills are in trouble here, I think. I mean, I think they've been in trouble all season, but they're still in a better position than the Steelers. At least they have, only the best quarterback in the NFL to, go against their mediocre wide receiver core. Steelers don't have that. They do have a former best quarterback in the league, but he's on his last legs of his career here, so that sucks. THP, yeah, we talked about them yesterday and George Pickens and all that. Don't want to go down that road here tonight again. Echelon here, 6-11 season incoming. Mike Tomlin is horrible. Time to move on. Glad we kept the picks. Now the new regime will need it. Wow, 6-11. No more wins this season for the Steelers from Echelon. That is a bold take right there. The only thing I disagree with from your comment here, would I like? Well, I wouldn't like it covering here in real time, but would it be for the best to have a 6-11 season and get as high of a draft pick as you can? Yes, but the thing is that I don't agree with keeping all the picks for the new regime. There will be no new regime there, Echelon. Hate to break it to you. There will be no new regime. Tomlin will get the benefit of the doubt from Rooney that, hey, Mike, it was commendable what you did. Never having a losing season. We'll give you a break for this one time. We'll get back to it next year. Just not going to happen, Echelon, unfortunately. As much as it should, it won't. Kind of one of those things where you expect things to change, but deep down, it will not whatsoever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, while I was saying that here, just taking one last scroll here through Twitter, don't see anything else that is new here going on. So I think that is going to wrap it up here for the evening. Want to thank you all for joining me here tonight. As always, I did say I would give an update on what is going on for the rest of the week and come to the decision that tomorrow there will be nothing here on the channel. And of course, Thanksgiving time to spend with family, there will be nothing there as well. So the next 2 days after tonight's SCSR 60, no sort of planned content here on the channel unless, some massive piece of news breaks. Then we'll go live and talk about it then. Not expecting much, to be honest, unless the Pirates lose their mind and sign someone big, because that's, the Steelers, they're just going to have their next couple of days of practice. We'll recap, what the participation of injured players would be like on Friday. The Penguins, not going to be too much news to talk about them, at least for tomorrow, because it will be waiting for them to take on the Sabres at night. And then Thanksgiving, of course, everyone's going to, take a day off of making big moves then. So nothing planned for tomorrow. Nothing planned for Thanksgiving as well. All of you, please go be like me, eat turkey, spend time with family, be thankful for what you have here in life. And then on Friday, we will reconvene and we'll have, I'm sure, a bunch to talk about then. Steelers, Bills, final injury reports, Penguins, how they did against the Sabres. I'm sure we might have a little bit more tidbits and trade rumors on the Pirates to discuss as well. So we'll do it all then. And we'll do it all Friday and head into the weekend where the Steelers and Bills will do battle. So I think that's going to do it here tonight. For the final time this evening, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new here to the channel, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here. on the channel again, whether it's a live stream or a video. Also, like this live stream, share this live stream, leave a comment in the comment section afterwards. I can always see those. Drop you a like on your comment, reply, good stuff like that. Final comments here for the day from Flacco. Ward is no Larry Fitz or Holt, but come on, was the best blocking wide receiver, caught everything, reliable, 2 rings, man. Yes, very notable accolades and stuff there from Hines Ward. I think Ward would have gotten a ton more love if he played in this generation where wide receivers blocking is more of a commonality. I think Ward was a little ahead of his time there. Maybe would have gotten a lot more love had you shifted his career, maybe 5 years into the future, something like that. So, yeah, hoping Hines Ward gets in, but we will see. And yeah, that's going to do it. Last time, thank you all for joining me here tonight. Subscribe, turn on notifications, like, share, comment. Go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And tune back in later tonight for SCSR 60. Thank you all. See you guys back here on Friday. Please have a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. We'll regroup here and talk about everything on Friday. Have a good next 2 days. Enjoy Turkey Day. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Thank you for being here, and peace.